Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope that it is a beautiful day there where you are. It is a beautiful day here. I've got the windows open. I have a kitty in the window. I don't know if you can see her. It's kind of bright back there. It just feels great. I hope you're feeling great as well. This is our Simple Abundance year. We're following along with Sarah Breathnach in her book Simple Abundance, the 2019 revised edition. And the entry I want to talk about today is called Ask, Ask, Ask. I think this is a really good thought-provoking one. Because when you think about asking for help, how does it make you feel? I have a lot of feelings around it. And then if somebody offers help, even if you don't ask, do you take it? Or do you say, no, I'm okay? Something to think about. So she has a Bible verse here from Matthew 7:7. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door shall be opened unto you. That's a pretty common one. Probably heard that before. So it's not going to come to you unless you ask, right? What about asking for the things that you really want in your life too, as far as in a prayer or an intention? Are you doing that? I know for me, and I've mentioned the law of attraction before, Abraham Hicks. Actually, there is a book called Ask and It Is Given. I've been a little less apt to ask in prayer since I was turned on to that philosophy, because not that I don't think there's a point in asking, but because I feel like I am a part of the process, and if I ask for something that I'm not in vibrational alignment with, then I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but the divide between me getting it or it manifesting for me or even like realizing is really like half the time things are there and you don't even realize them. The divide becomes greater and greater sometimes the more you ask. But when things are tough and you are wanting things to improve, then you are continuing to ask, even just through those thoughts. So that was a roundabout statement. I know that some people are very much into prayer and they feel very connected with what they're praying to, whatever that is, and that they do feel like there's that relationship where they can ask for something. It's something I need to think about, because I can't say that on a regular basis that I'm really doing that in prayer. But I think I'm doing it all day long through just living, right? When something doesn't go the way you want it, you ask without even saying it out loud. So there's a lot of different ways to think about this asking. But I just wanted to start off by asking you guys how you feel about asking. I think for me in life, I do have a resistance around asking people for help. A lot of it is because I feel like I don't want to owe anybody anything. Isn't that weird? I don't know where that comes from. But for instance, last fall, I had to have a ride to a medical procedure where I was going to be under anesthesia, and I thought I could just Uber there or whatever because I knew I couldn't drive, but they said no, you have to have somebody you know and they have to be here and everything. And it was like, it was so difficult for me to ask somebody which that may sound weird, and I have close friends, but it's not that. It's that I don't want to imposition anybody. And then I also feel like I have to be really close to ask somebody to do something like that without me feeling like then there's something I feel, I don't want to say it's an obligation, but it will always be in the back of my mind that I want to repay them. So I can take something, but I always feel like there's something that I'm indebted to. So that's sometimes why I don't want to ask, because I just don't want to owe anybody anything. I don't know where that comes from. I've always been that way. What do you guys think about that? In your own life. I don't mean your opinion of me. Maybe you can relate, is what I'm saying. So she asks us something similar. When was the last time you felt comfortable asking anybody for anything? For advice, for help, or even for directions? I can ask for directions. I don't care about that. She says, I've spent a considerable portion of my adult life asking questions as a journalist, so you'd think that asking on my own behalf would come easily, but it doesn't. So she goes on to talk about a situation where she was sitting at a coffee shop and happened to see a friend of hers who she's always admired her style, and so she just said, where do you get your clothes? I love them, and just started to ask things like that. And that's probably a good way to start, because you're really just inquiring. You're not saying, hey, will you be my stylist? Or do you have some clothes you can give me? So it's more just asking for input. So that's a good first step, right? And that's really a good idea too, because if you're trying to make improvements to things, like we had that whole fashion section, now we're talking about the home. So if you're at your friend's house and, wow, I really love your decorating, did you get ideas out of a catalog, or, and getting those suggestions would be probably pretty easy. Hopefully you can ask a little bit more easily for things like that don't involve any sort of obligation. She says a good point. We don't ask because we're afraid somebody will say no. It doesn't matter. It could be spirit, our spouse, or our supervisor. But when wishful thinking doesn't magically manifest what we want, we feel as if we've been turned down or a dream's been denied. So in future, we choose not to ask, but continue to wish, existing in a constant state of deprivation. That's the other thing about what I was going to say about how I'm a little bit hesitant to pray and ask for something specifically. Because in asking, in a sense, I feel like that's an acknowledgement of the deprivation of what I want. So I try to work more on emulating the circumstances and the existence and the, I don't know, I lost the word. I guess emulating, like, remember I talked about when I was mentioning my patio tray and how if you want to live like the rich, then maybe my tray would be a little more glitzy. I don't know. I don't care, because like I said, that's my simple abundance. But what I'm saying is that if I try to already act and think in a way that those things that I want are already mine, because in a lot of ways they are, and I just haven't realized them, like I said, then that's my form of asking, so it's a little bit different. But I do think that it's really important, we talked about this now in a couple of videos, to really sit down and ask yourself, what do I want to be, what do I want to do, and what do I want to have? Because you have to know those things before you can even ask in any way. Whether you're asking yourself, what do I want to be, what do I want to do, what do I want to have? Those are really important questions. Sarah goes on to say, asking comes with no guarantees. She's quoting a writer, Marjorie Holmes, saying, I ask for things that do not come. I urge you for things that do not happen. She confides that in a book called I've Got to Talk to Somebody, God. Through my knuckles are Though my knuckles are bloody from knocking and my voice is hoarse from asking, she writes, the door remains fast and there's only the great silence. In the great silence of unfulfillment, all that you can hear is your own sobs. I know, but I also know if we don't ask, we haven't got a prayer getting our needs and wants filled. That's probably another reason why I don't ask. When I say I don't ask, I'm sure I ask, like I said. But as far as like actually saying out loud, please grant me this or that, or bring me this or that, I'm not necessarily saying those out loud in a prayer. Maybe I should. She says, today start asking. And then she tells us, just like she did with her friend at the coffee shop, if you see a woman with a great haircut, ask her where she got it. Ask the name of a great paint color in a home accessory store. A fabulous recipe from a hostess. The name of a piece of music you hear over the speakers at a hair salon. Ask your partner to take the kids for the afternoon to give you some time to yourself. Ask the kids to pick up their toys so you don't have to do it. Ask for a deadline extension. Ask for the day off. Imagine that. Ask for a raise. Imagine that. Ask when the next sale will be. Ask Spirit for a daily portion of grace. Ask divine wisdom for operating instructions. I like that. Like as if there could be an owner's manual for life, right? Ask your guardian angel to manifest holy assistance. That sounds beautiful. While you're at it, ask for a deeply personal miracle. You know, the one you need so much you've been afraid to even pray for it. I really like this entry. It's really hitting home with me. What about you guys? Ask for what you need and want. Ask to be taught the right questions. Ask to be answered. Ask for the divine plan of your life to unfold through joy. Ask politely, ask with passion, ask with a grateful heart, and you will be heard. Just ask. Wow. That gave me tingles. And as I was preparing for that topic, I've shared Cheryl Richardson's book, The Art of Extreme Self-Care, a few times now on the channel. And one of her extreme self-care challenges is called Take Your Hands Off the Wheel. And this is not so much about asking the divine for what you want and need. This is about asking people in your life, or finding the person that you can ask to do these things, to help you with things that you really need help with. Part of it is really doing an assessment of what are some things that would really help you. Like Sarah mentioned, having your husband take the kids, or having the kids clean up more, things like that. Think of all the things you're juggling and what you could get help with. Maybe it's not even like a personal person. Maybe it's ordering your groceries online or something like that, or a meal delivery service, or things like that that are just going to make your life a little bit less complicated. She brings up some good points about asking, which I can really relate to, because it's a lot of what I was just saying. When you think about being told, this is your challenge, you have to ask people for help. These are some of the things that would come up, and I can relate to all these. I don't want to appear weak. It takes too much energy to explain what I need, so I don't bother. That is 100% me. Especially with my business, there are probably things that I could outsource, but when I think about the time it would take to go through all the steps, and then I'm such a micromanager that I would just be still looking at it too much. That one's totally me. Another one is I hate being disappointed when people don't follow through, and I agree with that. I think back to school, college, high school. I hated group projects because I was always the one. I never felt like my group members were going to do their part. So again, with the micromanaging, I was always like, did they do it? Oh, I should just do it. They're not going to do it, So I totally get that one. Another one is it's too much of a hassle to fight with family members who resist in helping out. So that would be like if you were wanting help with the dishes or something. I can understand that being an issue. I don't want to hear no. Sarah said that too. I don't want to feel indebted to anyone. That one is me. Ding, ding, ding. Just what I said. When I'm at work, I know I can do it faster, cheaper, and better, so I don't want to waste time and money. Again, same thing with me. As far as outsourcing stuff, I'm like, I could do that in 10 minutes. I'm not going to bother to pay somebody. And the last one is, in my family, we were taught to be self-sufficient, and I'm too proud to put anyone out. So all of those are very real for me. And isn't it interesting? Where did we learn these things? Was there some sort of a childhood experience where somebody told you it's not polite to ask? I'm thinking back to even like sharing toys. I bet there must have been something where there must have been some kind of experience that we learned and some message that we got in growing up to build up all these feelings of not being comfortable asking. So in her self-care challenge, like I said, you're supposed to do an assessment and you're supposed to really be honest with yourself about things that would help. And then also another part of it, because she shares a personal story about her husband, because he was very much on board with helping her with things. And so she would give him a list, and then, like my personality, she felt like she still had to follow up on him. But then after a while, she realized that she didn't. But it also is removing the judgment. So she shared a story about her husband loading the dishes in an unsatisfactory way, in her opinion, into the dishwasher. And he said, look, I know this isn't the way you want me to do it, but if you want my help, then you need to just let me do it the way I'm going to do it. And why does it matter that much anyway? Can you relate to that? I don't know that I would care. If my boyfriend, husband, whatever, if he were doing the dishes, I'd be thrilled. So I don't think I would be anal about how he was putting the things in the dishwasher. And plus, I probably don't do them very organized either. But so it's, if you're going to ask somebody for help and they're going to help you, then it's releasing the judgment of how they did it. Hopefully they do it well and to your satisfaction, but they may do it in a different way. But be grateful anyway that they helped you. So when you come up with the list of things that you're going to need help with, you're going to need to ask the person that you've asked if there's a certain timeline that you need to put that up front. You need to communicate with them if they're doing something for you and they can't meet the deadline that you've asked them to do. And who will ultimately be in charge if additional help is needed. A lot of those things are really maybe more related to a business task, right? I don't know. Do you have personal deadlines in your housekeeping and things? Maybe. But I'm thinking maybe that's more for somebody that has a lot of things. Maybe it's for their employees too. I feel like when I was a manager of staff, it took me a while, but in the end, I ended up hiring very capable people that I could delegate to. And initially, I tried to do it all. And you just get burnt out when you're doing that. And I still worked super hard even when I delegated stuff to people. But I wanted to just feel like I could say, this is what I need you to do, and feel like they knew how to do it. So I took the time to train people and hired people that were very conscientious. And that made for a much better situation. That me trying to do it all was just not great for a long time. I think I've come to the end of her chapter, so you may want to consider that it really is about the art of letting go, taking your hands off the wheel, like she said, and asking is okay. I'm still not comfortable with accepting, because then I always try to make sure that I'm always keeping track and score, and I always want to somehow pay it back somehow. But real friendship probably doesn't require that. In fact, I'm thinking, like, if I gave something, I'm not expecting that they're automatically going to turn around and give me the same value in return at some point. So I have to sit with this one, because I obviously have a lot of deep-seated thoughts, deep-rooted thoughts about it. And much of what both of the entries that I shared say could have come right out of my mouth, and some of it did before I even read it. So maybe you're also in the same boat. Let me know if you are asking in your life, if you're asking in a divine sense as well, and if you're able to receive. Ask and it will be given. We need a revision on that, though. Ask and it will be given, and then you won't owe anything back. I don't know. I don't know how to get over that obligation part of it. Thanks for listening to my ramblings. I will be back later this week with more from our Simple Abundance path this year. It's been great having you here, and I need to pick a date for the Fairy Tea Party, so stay tuned for that, and we'll have some fun with that. Thanks again, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.